Folks, today we're diving into a topic that affects more people than you might think: narcissistic rage. It's a term you've probably heard before, but what does it really mean? Well, let me tell you, it's not just your average anger. Narcissistic rage is an intense, uncontrolled anger that stems from a narcissistic personality. It's like a volcano erupting, and boy, can it cause some damage. Now, you might be wondering why we need to talk about this. Well, the truth is, narcissistic rage can wreak havoc on relationships, families, and even workplaces. It's not just about the person experiencing the rage, it's about everyone around them too. Understanding this phenomenon can help us navigate these tricky waters and maybe even prevent some serious emotional fallout. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. What exactly is narcissistic rage? Well, it's not your garden variety anger, that's for sure. Narcissistic rage is a reaction to narcissistic injury, which is a perceived threat to a narcissist's self-esteem or self-worth. When a narcissist feels their self-image is under attack, they lash out with intense anger that seems way out of proportion to the situation. This rage isn't just about anger, it's about control. Narcissists use this rage to manipulate others, to regain control of a situation that they feel is slipping away from them. But here's the thing, folks. This rage isn't really about you. It's about the narcissist's own insecurities and fears. Understanding this concept is crucial because it helps us see narcissistic rage for what it really is. Now let's talk about how to spot narcissistic rage. It's a complex and often misunderstood phenomenon that can be incredibly destructive. It's not always as obvious as someone throwing a fit in the middle of a restaurant, though that can certainly happen. These public outbursts are just one manifestation. Sometimes it's more subtle but no less damaging. The rage can simmer beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. Sometimes it's more subtle but no less damaging. It can be a quiet, seething anger that builds up over time. One of the key signs is a sudden, intense outburst that seems to come out of nowhere. This can be incredibly jarring for those around them. It's like a switch has been flipped, and suddenly, you're dealing with a completely different person. The transformation can be shocking and unsettling. Another sign to watch out for is the use of personal attacks. These attacks are often deeply hurtful and aimed at your most vulnerable points. Narcissists in rage mode will often resort to name-calling, insults, and bringing up past mistakes or vulnerabilities. They know exactly how to push your buttons. They're not fighting fair, folks. Their goal is to win at any cost, even if it means causing emotional harm. They're out to hurt you, to make you feel as small and insignificant as they feel inside. This is a projection of their own insecurities. You might also notice a complete lack of empathy during these episodes. It's as if they can't see or feel your pain at all. The narcissist is so focused on their own feelings and perceived injuries that they're incapable of considering yours. Their world revolves around their own needs. Lastly, keep an eye out for attempts to control or manipulate the situation. This can be through guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or other manipulative tactics. Remember, narcissistic rage is all about regaining control. They feel threatened and will do whatever it takes to reassert their dominance. Alright folks, let's talk triggers. What sets off narcissistic rage? Well, there are quite a few things that can light that fuse. One of the most common triggers is criticism. Even the slightest perceived criticism can send a narcissist into a tailspin. Another big trigger is feeling ignored or overlooked. Narcissists crave attention and admiration. If they feel like they're not getting their fair share of the spotlight, watch out. Boundaries are another major trigger. When you try to set healthy boundaries with a narcissist, they often perceive it as a threat to their control. Lastly, any perceived challenge to their authority or expertise can trigger narcissistic rage. This could be disagreeing with their opinion, questioning their decision, or even succeeding where they failed. Anything that threatens that feeling of superiority is likely to provoke their rage. Now let's bring this down to earth with some real-life examples. These stories will help us understand how narcissistic rage can affect everyday life. I've seen narcissistic rage play out in all sorts of situations, and let me tell you, it ain't pretty. It can be shocking and deeply unsettling to witness. Victim: take the case of Sarah and her boss, Tom. This is a classic example of how narcissistic rage can erupt in a professional setting. Sarah made a small suggestion during a team meeting about how to improve their project. She thought she was contributing positively to the team's success. Seems harmless, right? Well, Tom didn't see it that way. He took it as a personal attack on his leadership. He exploded, accusing Sarah of undermining his authority in front of the team. His reaction was completely disproportionate to her suggestion. He belittled her ideas and even brought up a mistake she'd made months ago. It was clear he wanted to assert his dominance and control. Poor Sarah was left feeling shell-shocked and humiliated. She had only tried to help, but instead, she became the target of Tom's rage. Then there's the case of Mike and his mother Linda. Family dynamics can be a breeding ground for narcissistic behavior. Mike had always struggled with Linda's controlling behavior, but things came to a head when he announced he was moving out of state for a job opportunity. This was a big step for him. Linda flew into a rage, accusing Mike of abandoning her and being ungrateful for all she'd done for him. Her reaction was intense and manipulative. She threatened to cut him off financially and emotionally if he went through with the move. It was a classic case of emotional blackmail. These examples show us how narcissistic rage can manifest in different contexts. Whether at work or at home, the impact can be devastating. Recognizing these patterns can help us identify narcissistic rage when we see it and take steps to protect ourselves. Awareness is the first step towards dealing with such toxic behavior effectively. Folks, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the impact of narcissistic rage on relationships. It's not pretty, I can tell you that. Narcissistic rage can be like a wrecking ball, demolishing trust, respect, and emotional intimacy in its path. Victim: it creates an environment of fear and uncertainty, where the non-narcissistic partner is constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of triggering another outburst. In romantic relationships, narcissistic rage can lead to a toxic cycle of abuse and reconciliation. The narcissist might explode in rage, then later apologize profusely, promising it will never happen again. This creates a roller coaster of emotions that can be incredibly draining for their partner. Over time, this can erode self-esteem and lead to anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. In family dynamics, narcissistic rage can create deep-seated resentment and dysfunction. Children growing up with a narcissistic parent may internalize the belief that they're never good enough, leading to lifelong struggles with self-worth. In the workplace, narcissistic rage can poison the entire environment. All right, now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do you deal with narcissistic rage? It's a tough situation, but there are ways to manage it effectively. First things first, remember that you can't control the narcissist's behavior, but you can control your response to it. This is a crucial distinction to make. Therapist, one effective strategy is to stay calm and composed. This can be challenging, but it's essential for your own well-being. I know, easier said than done, right? It takes practice and patience, but it's worth the effort. But reacting emotionally often just adds fuel to the fire. The more you react, the more they feel in control. Take a deep breath, count to 10 if you need to, but try to maintain your cool. This can help you stay grounded and think more clearly. Setting and maintaining clear boundaries is crucial. Boundaries help protect your emotional and mental health. Let the narcissist know what behavior is acceptable and what isn't. Be firm and consistent. This clarity can prevent misunderstandings. If they cross a line, there need to be consequences. This reinforces the importance of your boundaries. This might mean ending the conversation, leaving the room, or in severe cases, cutting off contact entirely. Your peace of mind is paramount. Therapist. Another strategy is to use the gray rock technique. This can be particularly effective in minimizing conflict. This involves becoming as uninteresting and unreactive as possible, like a gray rock. The goal is to make yourself a less appealing target. Don't engage with their attempts to provoke you. Give short, non-committal responses. This can help de-escalate the situation. The idea is to become so boring that the narcissist loses interest in targeting you. Over time, this can reduce the frequency and intensity of their outbursts. Remember, your well-being is the most important thing. These strategies are tools to help you protect yourself and maintain your peace. Dealing with narcissistic rage can take a real toll on your mental and emotional well-being. That's why self-care isn't just important, it's essential. First and foremost, don't blame yourself. Remember, the narcissist's rage is about their issues, not your worth. You're not responsible for their emotions or actions. It's crucial to have a support system. Surround yourself with people who validate your experiences and feelings. This could be friends, family, or a support group for people dealing with narcissistic abuse. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone can make a world of difference. Dealing with narcissistic rage can be overwhelming, and a therapist or counselor can provide invaluable support and guidance. They can help you process your experiences, develop coping strategies, and work on healing any emotional wounds you've sustained. If you're in a relationship with someone who exhibits narcissistic rage, couples therapy might seem like a good option. However, be cautious. Narcissists often use therapy sessions as another arena for manipulation. Individual therapy for yourself is often a safer and more productive choice. A therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse can help you navigate your specific situation and make decisions about your relationship. For those who have grown up with narcissistic parents, therapy can be particularly beneficial. It can help you unpack childhood experiences, challenge internalized negative beliefs, and learn healthier relationship patterns. The first step is awareness. Recognize the patterns of narcissistic rage in your own life and relationships. Are you repeating behaviors you've learned? Are you attracting or tolerating narcissistic individuals in your life? Once you're aware, you can start making conscious choices to break these patterns. This might involve setting firmer boundaries, walking away from toxic relationships, or working on your own self-esteem issues that might make you vulnerable to narcissistic manipulation. If you find yourself exhibiting narcissistic tendencies, it's important to seek help. Narcissistic personality disorder is a complex issue that requires professional treatment. But even if you don't have NPD, therapy can help you develop healthier coping mechanisms and relationship skills. When it comes to dealing with narcissistic rage, boundaries aren't just important, they're absolutely crucial. Boundaries are like invisible force fields that protect your emotional and mental well-being. They define what behavior you will and won't accept from others, including those prone to narcissistic rage. Setting boundaries with a narcissist isn't easy. They're likely to push back hard. They might try to guilt trip you, manipulate you, or fly into a rage when you assert your boundaries. But here's the thing, you've got to stand firm. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. They're not suggestions or guidelines. They're rules that must be respected if the narcissist wants to have a relationship with you. You can check this video out about the warning signs of narcissistic abuse. This will help you recognize these traits early. Go ahead and comment below your thoughts on the topic and what actions will you take or have you taken.